welcome back. It is the Danny Dot podcast. I am successfully maybe 6 days post knee MCL surgery, and whoo, my goodness, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm propped up in bed. I have the microphone boom arm coming across my front. I'm not going to touch this boom arm because it looks like it's going to fall to pieces. But no, hey, we are doing this. It's not my normal atmosphere that I would be recording in, but we are getting it done. So, yeah, look, the knee. September, I think, is when I did it. I was heading to Gold Coast for my cousin's wedding. It was absolutely just something I was driven to go to. And I injured myself the day before. So if you are new here, I had a MCL ligament tear on my left knee. It was a slow burn, let's be honest. And what sort of happened after I got on the plane to Australia just was the worst pain of my life. I would say a 15 out of 10. I was crying to mum on the phone. I was like, should I go to hospital? What's happening here? Rah. Fast forward to 6 days ago, and I had to get surgery on it, which it actually transpired to be one of the most amazing experiences. I'm not going to lie, I've had a really great time with this knee surgery, and I've had the best care. The weirdest thing happened is because I live in Cromwell, just outside of Queenstown, and I was under the impression that I'd have to travel to Dunedin, Christchurch, major city centres to have the surgery. So to find out that they could do it privately at the New Southern Cross Hospital in Lake Hayes in Queenstown, I was over the moon about. So that day, obviously, I had been on this massive rampage to up my recovery post-op and just sort of get myself sorted because I knew I'd be out of action for a little bit. So the morning of the surgery last Thursday, I did a workout. Everything was just as it had been for the past 3 weeks, no changes. And when you like put the anchors down and you absolutely don't want to do something, Thursday morning was it. Nothing worked for me. It was weird. I actually just wanted to get it over with. It was one of those click your fingers and could this just be done moments. I came home and I thought I'd wash my hair. Something distracted me and I only managed to shampoo my hair. I didn't even condition it. Mum had to pop to work for the morning, so she wasn't home. I was just one of those people that kind of felt like I was running on a hamster wheel, like nothing was working in my favor. So I got out of the shower and I was standing there and I was just like, I don't want to do this. And when you start to think about something and you're just like, I will look for anything that doesn't feel right in order for it to not go ahead. And quite frankly, the knee was not giving me the most grief as of recently. So I was super in a really good place with my fitness and my health and wellness and everything. I was like, I don't want to go ahead and screw this up by having surgery. This is just, Anyway, I figured out on halfway to Queenstown that I actually had only shampooed my hair, not conditioned. So I had it in a bun on top of my head, and I was just like, God damn it, I can't do anything about it now. Anyway, get to the hospital, and we're having our checks, and these lovely nurses. I was probably the most cautious patient, and I'm only that way because I'm on blood thinners, and if they said anything that was going to hinder my recovery, I was just going to back out of it. And I did sort of put to them that I was extremely anxious and worried because I don't know if it's just something you've seen in movies or whatever, but when someone has a surgery and they're on blood thinners, there's this massive post-op care that needs to take place. And I knew that the surgery would go well. It was afterwards that would be a little bit questionable, especially when you have to wear compression socks and elevate your leg and, be off the medication that you normally take to stay safe, and then you have to restart it again. So this was, day 3 of me not being on the blood thinners, and I was thinking, oh, you see this in movies where they have surgery and then they come out and then they start their medication and this massive surge of blood flow or something dislodges and it kills you. So I did have these questions to these nurses. They must have thought I was mad because I was like, oh, you see it in movies, you see it, but I was only trying to make it something that people were more, I don't know, conscious of, that this is how we feel about this whole situation. Anyway, the anesthetic guy comes in. Both my surgeon and the anesthetic man, I'm not going to say their names actually. They are both 6'5", just these lovely men that wanted to look after me. They drew all over my leg where they were going to be doing the surgery. They talked through all my questions. I actually had to do a pregnancy test that morning, which was quite funny because Mum was sitting in the waiting room and she was like, if that's positive, you've got some questions to answer, young lady. But lo and behold, it was negative. It was all good. But yeah, when it all sort of came to you've got to wait for 45 minutes before you can go in for surgery, just sit in the waiting room, that's where, I don't know, I started to get sweaty palms and I was like, putting my ankles down. I don't want to do this. Can we stop? Rah-de-rah. I wasn't vocalizing it as I was just thinking about it, and I was trying to keep distracted, and I've got Mum there. She's like going to go away and do some jobs and come back. And lo and behold, you guys know how much I dislike Snapchat. I get this message and it was from a friend and he was like, are you at Lake Hayes Hospital? And I was like, yeah, I'm getting knee surgery in 25 minutes. Why, what's up? He sent me a photo of the consultation room and he was getting surgery after me. And I was like, oh my God. And it was the exact same surgery. So I don't know, did this whole like maybe flash of just happiness happen where I was like, wow, a really dear friend of mine from Cromwell's getting the same surgery exactly after me. And I started joking around with the surgeon and I said, oh, is it a 2-for-1 deal from Cromwell patients? He was like, that's not funny. Anyway, the surgeon came and got me and he took me into this beautiful white theatre. Now, I don't know if it's just me or like, when you see horror movies, I don't know why I keep going back to the fact that this is a horror situation. It was just the mindset I was in. I was really scared, so everything was just terrible. But I walked into this sterile white theatre. Everything's beautiful. They're playing music. There's like half a dozen staff members. And the guy says to me, just climb up onto the bed here and get yourself settled and put your arm out and we're just going to talk to you and, get you settled. And I was like, I shook my wrists as though I was like panicked. And I said, sorry, I'm just really scared. And he was like, what are you scared about? We've had multiple consultations. I've told you, you're going to be fine. I was like, yeah, but this is just not something that I'm really like wanting to go ahead with. And I was like backing out. Anyway, he says to me, oh, can I give you some of this laughing medication? And I was like, yeah, but I'm probably not going to laugh. I'll just probably burst into tears because I'm a little bit scared. And he was like, no. And anyway, as he was asking the question, he was dispersing it. So I started laughing. And just as I was about to go under, they start playing this song, If I Saw You in Heaven. If I saw you in heaven. That was a terrible rendition. I apologize. And the surgeon was like, oh, sorry, that song almost never comes on at this time. And I just felt my eyes just get so heavy and I was laughing and I was like, fuck. So I came to in the recovery area and this beautiful nurse, I'll never forget her. I burst into tears because I was just looking at her and I said, is this Queenstown Hospital? And she was like, yeah, why? Where do you think you are? And I said, I don't know, but I just expected the worst and I thought I'd end up in Christchurch. Like, whatever happens. I was told maybe 2 months before surgery that I had to be 10 kilos less to fit the tables. And there was this huge drama about me being 5'2" with 9 chins and not fitting on the table. Anyway, I was in Queenstown. Everything was fine. The nurse was just like the best person and she was holding my hand and I was just like, holy shit, I'm so excited to be here. And she was like, surgery was perfect. And I was just like, well, yeah, but... And lo and behold, as I'm sitting there trying to wake up and I keep nodding off, my friend from Cromwell wheels in next to me and he's just had his surgery and I'm just like, damn it, I haven't got my phone to take really funny selfies of like him passed out and me just like being an idiot with all my scrubs and gears on. Anyway, they called mum and I got transferred into a wheelchair. I was barely awake 20 minutes before they woke me up and put me in this wheelchair and wheeled me into like a recovery room in this lazy boy chair, and they gave me sandwich and coffee and a jelly cup and everything I'd asked for when they called me a week prior and said, what do you want to eat post-op? I just thought, holy shit, I'm in a dream. And the wee nurse, she didn't want to leave me. She was so sweet. She was like, that's my favorite customer today. She's really funny. And I was like, how am I funny? I burst into tears, But lo and behold, mum turned up, picked me up, and we were back in Cromwell, and I was back propped up on the couch with my knee in this bandage. Like, it was seamless. And if Southern Cross Hospital sent me a survey and asked how my whole experience was, it was 20 out of 10. Like, you couldn't fault it. It was just flawless. And the care, I know that they say once you've had private, you never go public, but I didn't mean to go private. It was just a train of events because of the region that I live in or whatever. And I was really looked after. So it was kind of the silver lining on a really crappy situation where at the start I was considered a drug smuggler that was trying to get drugs out of my local GP office that were not prescribed to me, but I was just screaming black and blue the pain was terrible and you needed to change my prescriptions, to being treated like a queen privately and having absolutely no implications whatsoever and the best experience. So yeah. And it's terrible because my boss, who I work for, her husband actually has the same situation with his knee. He's been on a waiting list for public for 18 months, and here's me, who it had been, since September, and I ended up going private. So it's not really one to talk about because obviously, these things happen in a weird kind of way with me. But I do feel for the public system, and I don't know. I'm just full steam ahead with my own recovery, and I just wanted to share my little experience because I've had a lot of questions asking how the surgery went, and it's heartwarming because obviously you all care about me and you all know my different bits and pieces when it comes to medication and trying to sort my health and lose some weight. But there's been a little tiny setback when it comes to my 75 hard challenge, and so this surgery on the Thursday, Friday morning, I must have still been under hospital medication. And there was conversation as to what they gave me that knocked me out on the Thursday. Friday, I thought I was invincible. I'm not even going to lie. I got in my car and I went to the supermarket, I went to the pharmacy, and I went to the gym. And everything was fine. And I did all the things. I didn't do like a hard-ass workout or anything at the gym. I just simply did 10 minutes on a stationary bike, which actually I only did 7 minutes because I couldn't get to 10. And I did an upper body workout. I brought some groceries. I checked in with my pharmacist and got my medication from, what had been dispensed from the surgeon. Nothing out of the ordinary. Saturday I wake up and I thought I was death warmed up. I was just sitting there thinking, holy shit, it's worn off. This is how it's going to be for the next 7 to 10 days, and I'm not happy about it. So I have kept up with everything on the 75 hard. It hasn't been in perfect fitness time blocks. So they say a 45-minute workout in a gym and then a 45-minute workout after in outdoors. I've probably done, I don't know, I've always stuck to the 45-minute in the gym. That's not an issue. It's because that's something that I can do sedentary, sitting down, upper body. It's all easy. It's when I have to walk around outside, and there's been 2 days where we tried to do outdoor workouts and it just looked terrible, and I feel sorry for the neighbours. But when it comes to doing laps around the block, we figured out that it was 11 laps of my driveway was half a kilometre, and it took 15 minutes. So there was just little increments where I had to build up strength and just do it in little, not full 45-minute sections. Other than that, we're trucking along perfectly. I am so good with everything. The food's been on point. Food's not really a thing, it's just no cheat meals. I don't really know what that means though, because I'm on a meal plan at the moment, so that's not a major. The progress picture, well, yes, it's been taken, it's just not showing. The 10 pages of a book, I'm absolutely engaged in my Atomic Habits book at the moment. And when I get bored with, learning about self-love and all that kind of stuff, I transfer myself to 101 Essays That Would Change the Way You Think. We talked about this in season 1. It was a really great book at the time. So that's not hard to do 10 pages of either of those books. And then obviously just keeping up with the water. So it's not a case of the fact that the surgery was great. It's everything that comes after. So keeping up with the 3.5-4 litres of water is easy. I can do it. Sitting on the toilet is not a factor. Oh my gosh. Talk about throwing your toys out of the cot. Hate it. Every time I think about going to the toilet, I just have to put it in the back of my mind and I'm like, I don't want to go. It's causing mayhem. And that's simply for the reason that sitting on the toilet is fine. It's standing up again and using one leg to balance. Yeah, not a vibe. I only said to Mum yesterday, I think I'm getting a hang of it, but it's not something that I like. If anyone said to me ever again, oh, you've got to get your other knee done or you've got to have another knee surgery, off limits. I cannot be bothered. And you take for granted how important your knees are when shit like this happens, and it's a simple day-to-day activity of chucking a piss and you can't. But the worst thing is that only on Sunday, 1 o'clock, I could actually take the bandage off and have a shower. I don't know how people do it when they have leg casts or body that's in casts for broken bones or whatever. I was agitated and irritable. I just wanted to strip off, and apparently it was 72 hours post-op was 1 o'clock Sunday. I got out of bed at 10 a.m. Mum starts winding the bandage off my leg and she's like, well, what's a couple of hours? It doesn't matter. You could just do it now, and you're honking. You need to have a shower. So I basically got fleeced in the kitchen and told to, strip the bandage off, which was fine because what was under the bandage wasn't a major. I just maybe thought the thickness of the bandage was hindering my, seating myself on the toilet situation. But now I don't have the bandage. I'd say it was 10 times worse. I feel weak. I feel weak. But no, so this has been an absolute ride. Yeah, I don't know. Thinking about it when we get to Sunday this week, and that's 10 days post-op, I'm just hoping that I'm in a bit of position because there's so much that I want to do in the 75 hard challenge, and it's bothering me that I'm doing the bare minimal. I'm doing it, but I'm just not, I don't know, it's bothering me at this stage. So the routine has been a little bit, I don't know, corrupt. I felt like I was self-sabotaging the 75 hard, but it had to be done. And for the most part, I'm really proud of myself. Don't get me wrong. I think it's just actually being on medication and trying to capture all the moments where you're doing the challenge to prove that you're doing it, because obviously people want to have a say and see it and make sure that you are doing it, especially my mum. She's the biggest advocate. And when I started it, she started doing the 75 soft. She bombed out on day 2. She was all for it. It was so exciting. I was like, yeah, cool. You can do 75 soft and do your own version, rah. On the second day, she was like, I forgot something. So yeah, that's been a vibe. You guys have been asking what's been going on with the digital marketing stuff. I had this question on my Instagram the other day. Hang on, I'll find it because I want to see what it was particularly. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which is crazy because I had a one-on-one with my manager 2 weeks ago, and she asked the same question. I was like, what Where do I see myself in 5 years? Knowing what I know now with my digital marketing stuff, in 5 months, not even 5 years, but 5 months, I see myself part-time in my actual job because I want to direct some attention to my digital marketing space because it's exciting. And I don't know if you guys are seeing it because I'm slowly tiptoeing around a few things at the moment. But it's kind of a gradual burn and I'm loving it because it's teaching me so many things. So when you start doing digital marketing, you need to sort of start an algorithm of consistency. And that's something that I'm not. My consistency is 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on my social media. I might post something and then I walk away from it. That's on my own personal social media. So the fact that I want to promote, say, my podcast or my brother's truck, or the roadmap course, which just released like 250 new bloody videos, so now there's 500 of them. It's one of those things where I'm passionate about it, and if you listen to me and you see this like excitement, I need to be consistent with it. So I've started to post every single day on my Danny.podcast, Danny.podcast TikTok and my Danny.digital Instagram. And I'm just watching. I'm just throwing it out there, and then I just take a step back and I just watch and I just see what happens, and it's been really interesting. Who would have thought I'd be, one of these people that thinks in 5 months' time I can drop down to part-time and survive off, an actual wage. Sorry, I've got to stretch my leg. A wage of my actual job, which I thought that I'd be in forever, and something that I'm actually passionate about as a career choice. An interesting website I thought that I'd chuck out there and sort of see if you guys are aware of it is there's a website called answerthepublic.com. This website is crazy. It's actually something that I've spent a lot of time in the past, 10 days. You put a keyword into a search engine and it could be whatever. I take, for example, this morning, just for checking out what was going on in the world, I put the word news into answerthepublic.com. It came back that 301,000 people had also searched the word news, like today. I don't know what that timestamp is. And it tells you how many searches for that topic and some clarifying questions that have been asked. These are only New Zealand answers to this word because I didn't want to go worldwide because that would be like 1 billion people looking up news. But it's really funny because it shows what people like Google. And you can see how many people have misspelt the word news, how many people only put like News Auckland or News Australia, news headlines, news for Auckland Airport, that's a big one. There's also weird questions like how the news affects the stock market, which that's something that I'm all over that. I know that there's some weird connection there. But anyway, when you start to do things like digital marketing, you need to be ahead of the game. And so obviously if people are asking questions on Google and trying to, understand things, if you put out social media that answers those questions, you get a massive response. And it's just something that I've been really interested in the past, 10 days, and I've been dabbling in a little bit. But yeah, if you've got a spare moment, I think you get 3 free searches a day, or then you have to pay $9 a month to actually see what people are asking about. But it's a vibe. The other thing actually I wanted to sort of mention was when me and my friend Mel were in Christchurch driving around getting lost, as it seems, we actually heard on the radio that, when you're on Google and you say look up Bunnings, I don't know, the hardware store, and say on the bottom of that little search it says busy at these times, do you know how that graph calculates that sort of, busyness? That little graph thingy goes to show how many people are in that Bunnings at that time with their phones on, because somehow It's registering that that person is at that location at that time, and it calculates how many people are in that store. Also, it also works when there's a car crash on a road and it says that there's like, you know, in Google Maps it goes red and it says, oh, there should be like a little impact because there's an impact to your travel time because there's been a crash. That also is based off people that are also searching on Google Maps at the same time, and all the phones pick up the same location. It shows the traffic and everything else. Like, oh my God, I almost crashed the car because I was just like, what? Imagine if you were in Coles and everyone that had a social media type phone were in Coles, and they just, you know, it says that it was really busy because 50 people were in there and it was 5 o'clock. Like, that's the norm. I just think that was the norm. It's, you know, after work, people are buying all their groceries. But to think that that's how they gauge that on Google and how they generate this graph of busyness, oh, I was here for it. It was crazy. So anyway, two little things I thought I'd throw your way. So obviously this is the Catch Up podcast, and there has been multiple questions asked on Spotify and my Instagram. This goes back maybe 6 months just because I haven't been managing or maintaining my questions and answer portion. Apologies. I've been, digressing a little bit just because I feel like the podcast is its own little world, and it just, I don't know. You guys ask questions, I answer, but there's also been a lot going on in my life that I've just been talking about. So, I don't know. There's been some weird questions. I thought I'd just sort of go through them all right now because you want to know. But I see this all the time, and that's, where do I get my ideas to do things? I don't. But quite frankly, I live in this really small town, and I've never lived somewhere that has a population of this type ever in my life. I suppose it's completely up to me to be this little quiet-natured person at the moment and just do things that make myself happy, and these ideas just come to me. I have a really great support network that I can bounce ideas off, but also I see things and then I sort of dabble in them a little bit myself. And I don't know, sometimes it sparks interest and sometimes it doesn't. But basically, I'm like this little small town girly who loves to cook, loves to, you know, wander around and explore. But I'm not fazed. I've done it all, like, for what I would say all is. I have travelled. I do manage to get out there and see bits and pieces and do different things. And I'm not really one to be bothered by, I don't know, big expensive material items. I do love lots of ideas, and quite frankly, my mum and my brother are my biggest inspirations. They've both got their own things going on that I just love supporting, and that's kind of the reason I moved back from Australia in 2019 after 5 years, was because I just wanted to spend time with the two of them and see what they were up to, because it got too hard living overseas. I mean, I was home 17 times in 5 years. Like, that was, that's when I sort of realized that my family were doing crazy things and I wanted to be a part of it. And then COVID happened. We all got stuck together. So no, I would say my ideas come from my support network, who someone might see something and think, oh, Danny might be interested in that. Or it sparks like a massive interest, and I'm not one to sort of let things fester. I'll talk it out, and I say that to a lot of people. When they can't get their words out, I'll say, come on, talk it out. What are you trying to get across? But yeah, I have really great experiences under my belt already, that I'm not someone that has to go back to the UK or has to go and explore Asia. I'm 36, turning 37, and I have this really great idea that I'm not old. I can do it, and I can do it in my own time. But right now, I'm really interested in what my mum and my brother are doing, and also the slower pace of life, just because I've been a part of the rat race and I never want to do that again. But my ideas, I don't know. I think it's, a lot of people will say it's because you live in a small town and you've got nothing else going on. There's things going on. I just don't really care too much for them. And I'm in this really great saving money era where I'm making money and I'm saving money. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Do you ever feel overwhelmed with things? Honestly, I'm one of those people that, yeah, look, I do. I absolutely do feel overwhelmed at the best of times because I get so excited about so many projects. And then I take a step back and I'm like, shit, why don't I just direct my attention to one thing? Like, really? So even when that was that one thing and I was learning about digital marketing and how I could best do this for me, I still like absolutely went underground with it. And I was not overwhelmed. I look back at all the training and stuff and I was like, shit, how did I manage that? But when you're passionate and excited, anything goes. And honestly, the only thing I'm overwhelmed with at the moment is that I have this stack of books at the end of my bed. And I just basically said to Mum, that's it. I've had enough of these books. I need to like read them and just pass them on to someone, put them in the book club bloody container at the Stoker room area. Misha's, there's this area, I don't know, it's like, there's this container where people put donated books in. But yeah, this stack of books is annoying me and it's overwhelming me because I'm like, I keep adding to it and I need to get these books read and out the door because quite frankly, they're not going to bring anything beneficial into my life. I should just put them in the stupid container, shouldn't I? What's your biggest misconception people have about you? That I'm confident. It's a weird point. I think people always just assume that I'm confident and loud. I would say being tall has its disadvantages, and I'm not confident, but I will talk shit just to fill in a gap or a void. Am I, confident in everything? No, God, no. Do you think that I worry about putting out a podcast? It's got to the point where it's just one of those things I don't even worry about anymore because I know you're going to get feedback and it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, the ugly. Constructive feedback's always going to be something that's really great to hear from people that care about you, even if they don't, doesn't matter. Someone's actually had the time to say if something's poorly or whatever. But right now I'd say I'm not confident about TikTok and I'm not confident about recording my podcast on a video. If you could see me right now, I've got like, I don't know, 2 or 3 layers of skincare on my face. I've got a Mecca headband on. I'm wearing track pants, a baggy t-shirt. I've got a boom microphone in front of my face. I know that it's really, like, that's the norm. And I was thinking about this the other day. Right, hear me out on this. You know when celebrities get, like, super famous and their social media goes to shit and you just think, oh my God, they take shitty photos that are distorted or whatever. You can't, it's just, what the hell's going on? Take, for example, when Ariana Grande got married to that Dalton guy. Her wedding photos were shit. And I'm still mad about it. Like, it's a thing. I think it's really relatable if you just, like, you guys know that I look like a bin chicken when I record the pod. So, the social media influencers where every single aesthetic on their gram is just perfect and how much they strive and they stress themselves out for followers and likes and everything else. I don't know. It freaks me out too much and I'm just not that person. I can't. I don't really know where I was going with that, but I've been thinking about it lately and what I think how I perceive myself on social media is. And it is exactly that. Like, don't think for a second that I'm being fake or anything because I don't edit anything. I'm learning how to use fonts and audio and hashtags. Like, it's all new to me. But I'm absolutely not one that's going to sit back and give 2 shits if something got 2 likes or 2,000 likes, it's just because I'm happy and I want to share something that is important to me. But also, I lack confidence in anything, and I'm at that stage in my life where I'm too old to care. What is your favorite recipe to cook? All of my friends would say this. If I have made this for you, I love you. But it is the Lazy Girl lasagna. My love language is to cook. It's something I'm very passionate about. I will make anything from, oh God, nachos and taco nights, all the way through to the most creamiest, dreamiest pasta dish of your life. Last night we were talking about risotto and how, it takes so long to make if it's decent and it absorbs all the flavors. I was just like, I'm sure there's box mixes that take 20 minutes. So anyway, I brought one, and it was the beef flavored one because I was going to try and make some beef protein to go with it. And look, it turned out all right, but I would say that it was really like salty, and the flavor was kind of like beef noodle sachet packet strength. Like, it was just too much, and I was like, oh. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Risotto is not something I'm confident in. I get overwhelmed with the whole timestamp on how to make risotto. But I honestly, if I make you lasagna, lazy lasagna, the deconstructed version, I am just like your best friend, because that to me is a whip-up dish, and I get so excited when I get to make it because probably it gets paired with a red wine, and that's something I enjoy. But yeah. And this question I think came through just recently. Are you watching the shitstorm? Okay, I think I know who this is from. Are you watching the shitstorm that is Kate Middleton's Photoshop fail on the news? Oh, fuck. Yeah, look, I sort of love this shit. Like, I just am obsessed. I'm not obsessed with the royals, but I find it really interesting. What is happening here? So she has surgery, I think December 28th, on her abdomen, and this is where it cracks me up. Because I've just had surgery myself, I completely understand the fact that if she wants to go into hiding for a couple of months to recover, 100% I get it. But the pressure of the fact that no one has seen her and what they have thought they saw of her, a couple of days ago driving in a Range Rover was this bloated Madame Tussauds wax version of Kate that clearly wasn't her. Then she decides to come out with a Mother's Day photo of herself with the kitties, and in the photo there's leaves on the trees, and obviously it's shit weather in the UK and there's no leaves anywhere, so obviously it's an old photo. She's got the kitties are all morphed around her, and I just think there's a picture of, say, her, and she's put the kids around her in different places, because quite frankly they all can't take a great photo together like they perceive they have. And there's been all this like artificial intelligence that have piped up and said, she's used this, that and the other. What gets me is that if you're a princess, why do you sign off on your social media with the capital letter C, as that's it? At least say Kate or Catherine or something, like you're royal, for goodness sakes. But yeah, when that shitstorm came out, I am dying to know what's happening here. It's just, I can't. And quite frankly, the other night, I think it was Sunday, or it might have been Saturday night, I had a bit of codeine for the knee pain, and I was lying in bed and I was on Daily Mail, as we all go there. And anything to do with the royals triggers 1,000 comments. And I'm always there for the comments on anything. It buzzes me. I think, oh my God, this is going to be so funny. What I didn't know is if you comment on a Daily Mail article, you get email responses if someone likes or comments on your comment. I woke up the next day to over 100 emails. I was like, fuck. Remind me to make a fake Daily Mail account to troll people. But yeah, basically I was like, what's the go with Louis's hand? He had this weird hand gesture. And then I said to Mum, what's the go with Louis' hand? And she was like, oh, kids will be kids. Like, that's just him being silly. But apparently he's done this gesture in multiple photos. But yeah, subconsciously, I'm absolutely dying to know what's going on here. But in my mind, I'm just thinking if she has had surgery, I'm laughing because absolutely, if it's abdominal surgery for whatever, you would need a bit of time to recover. But it's just the time scale of what had happened and when it happened, because Prince Charles came out about his prostate cancer. TMI, I know. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. She wouldn't have died. I just don't know what's going on there. God help us. Anyway, I have kind of glanced at the rest of the questions and I've sort of summed up everything that I've said in this pod. Nothing else. Everything else has all been answered, and at a healthy 40 minutes, I think I'll leave it there and just sort of let you guys know that this was the catch-up podcast. We have discussed my surgery, 75 Hard, my digital marketing stuff. By the way, guess what? The podcast is now on YouTube. It's not a video. The podcast actually has its own platform where I think you just play it and the Danny Dot podcast logos in the background. But that was something that YouTube reached out to me about a fortnight ago and said, can you submit to upload your pod onto YouTube? So if you guys are in the YouTube realm, I know that I have heaps of friends that do love the old YouTube as their form of background noise. I'm now on YouTube, and that's kind of a bit of a success story for me because I was like, what? I haven't actually gone back into it to see what's been going on. It's just one of those things. Again, you just throw it into the atmosphere and just see what happens. If people have questions that you get notifications about, but it's nothing major. But yeah, super excited to see what happens there. But yeah, on that note, you guys, take care. Always reach out. I'm everywhere, and make sure you read the blurb of the pod just to get familiar with what I'm talking about. I am off to recover before my 90-minute session with my PT tomorrow. God knows what she's going to make me do because the knee is just not bending. The bend is not bending. But yeah, I will get better soon, and thank you so much for all your well wishes. I will send you another podcast next Tuesday. Bye guys.